Hi everyone, Ronald Ingram here, your rebel banker futurist. Live from the Nevada high desert, looking down on the Luxor pyramid. We're going out on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and everywhere else the signal reaches. Thanks for joining tonight. We have had an incredible, busy week with huge milestones. It's funny when I'm a little bit less communicative on the social platforms. Often that means that there's so much going on that it means the opposite of what you might expect. So sometimes when things are quiet, you think nothing's going on. Well, it's usually the opposite. When things are quieter, it means that there's a lot of activity. I was going to do a tally of the lines of code that have been generated. We must be over 100,000 lines of code now. It's a very sophisticated project, and quite a few of you, well, not that, a handful of you now, friends, family, and some early supporters have gotten access to BROK. BROK is live, and I'm really very pleased. And it seems like from the feedback that I'm getting that most of you are as well, that have had the opportunity to experience BROK in many respects. So the project has what I wanted to have ready July 24th. Is pretty well there now. So it will be, between now and the 24th, I will be starting to get the word out and roll this out, and mainly focus on scalability. So I'm really glad that we did it exactly right. I think just a very small group, and then a few more people, and then a few more people today. And then I think, this evening, I will provide the link after this call. Some of you actually, I gotta give a shout out to Lark again, the guy, one of the folks who produces some incredible POCK art and media and memes. He actually found out that BROK was live before I had announced it. So because you can only do so much in a sandbox, so much testing in a sandbox, so I had to go live, but I just didn't tell anybody about it. But Lark, and maybe there are a few others that found out about it. So that's fine. There are instructions to refresh. So if you're one of the ones that found BROK early, make sure that you refresh your cache, because a lot of updates were made during the course of the day to tweak and improve BROK's capabilities. So, and look and feel, and all kinds of small tweaks. But then the next thing is scalability, because also this is why I'm glad that we did a fairly limited release. BROK, if you use the avatar and the voice and all at once, and a number of people are using it all at once, that you can burn through a lot of tokens fairly quickly. And so I think we actually maxed out early today. So a few things like that we'll be able to calibrate for demand. And so when I start putting out press releases and participating in the demos, I've been invited to many demos. I was invited to San Francisco to do my first demo at the Solana headquarters in San Francisco. At one of the fastest growing tech companies in the United States is here in Las Vegas, called Tensor, and I have an opportunity to do demos there. And there's a big conference, a crypto conference that's coming. I have an opportunity to do demos there. So lots of demos, podcasts, speaking opportunities. The big one, though, I'm going to jump around a little bit here. So I haven't finished talking about, I think BROK is kind of the focus of this of this call, but it spins off into a number of different really interesting branches. So I've mentioned in the past that I've been in discussions with a television network studio operation that is quite well established. And I met the president, a development meeting, the president, the CEO, a producer, director, some of the other talent, and to discuss the development of a show that is going to launch in August or September. They didn't make me sign an NDA, so I think I can share that. And the focus of the show, the initial concepts were around business and the future of business. And but I brought Brock with me, of course, and I was in the middle of or just prior to launching, so I had some video clips of Brock talking. By the way, there's a great clip that I just posted, the first, the longest clip ever of Brock talking for 3.5 minutes straight. It could go longer, but I mean, I didn't make it go longer or shorter. I just let it go and let Brock speak until Brock was done speaking on the subject, and I'd asked him a fairly open-ended question. And so Brock spoke for 3.5 minutes, I think, on camera, and I took it on camera. That's why, just so you could see that it's really on the laptop. I filmed it on my phone, and you could see it. The animation is good. The voice is good. It's cloned. The clone of my voice speaks better than me, and it is. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with how it came out. So I had these clips. I had some of the earlier clips, not even as good as what I did today, which I posted on YouTube earlier. It's called Brock Intro, and but I showed the some clips to Las Vegas to the television network, and everyone is pretty excited about Brock. So there might be a whole show dedicated to Brock, and Brock might even be part of the show. And Brock also did an evaluation on the TV network's business plan, and they were very impressed with that. And they agreed to have Brock. This is breaking news. That, again, I didn't sign an NDA, so I'm going to share it right now. So they agreed to make Brock the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer for the TV network, to assist with planning, accounting, finance, all the things that we talked about that Brock is capable of doing on the financial banking side. And lots of discussions about neat ways that Brock can be incorporated into the show, debates as one of the lots of ideas. And there's going to be at least another one more development show, and then our development meeting, and we'll finalize the show, and I'll keep you posted about when that is going to start taping, and when it will go to air, and all of that. But here's the key. Here's the takeaway. I thought I misheard the number, and so I asked to make sure I had the record correctly. And what the CEO of the network told me is that they have a reach of 300 million people. So that's through online, through cable, through broadcast, through traditional old-fashioned broadcast networks, and I forget all the channels, but numerous channels altogether combined, a reach of around 300 million viewers. So this is really a big thing, and it's also going to be newsworthy. I think that Brock is going to have a prominent role. I think that's kind of a first for artificial intelligence, and just a testament to how capable BROK is in the area of banking, finance, accounting, and business, as a genius. So we're not a certified, certified. Neither am I. Not an investment advisor, not an accountant. This is nothing that I provide here or share here as investment advice. The usual disclaimer, and BROK will have all those disclaimers and always does as well. So, but that's the banking side, and also the biohacking side, because it seems like a lot, I know, but the two, I just can't separate them. The health, what is the point of wealth if you don't have health, right? So you don't, listen to what you want. BROK is now yours. You can talk to BROK, and questions that you would ask me, I would say ask BROK first. Get on board, and I think you'll like the way that I set up the pricing. So deeply discounted pricing pre-launch, automatic credits. When you get the link, you'll automatically get some free credits, so there's zero cost to start trying, and then you can do top-ups. And you can buy your first, and you can share this. You can share a link. You can send a link to anybody. They will get the link, receive the link, and they will get free SPOC, and therefore access, and in the context of access to BROK, but it is SPOC, so they will use SPOC to access BROK. And they'll use SPOC to access BROK. SPOC is the fuel for all of this. It's the gasoline. It's the method of payment for all of these services and for access. So you go into you can gift some BROK to somebody, or SPOC to somebody. You can just send it to somebody, anybody, whether they have a wallet, whether they're a newbie, anybody, anywhere in the world. Doesn't even have to be in America. Anybody, anywhere in the world, you could send them this link, and now they can just pay with a credit card. So already the newbies, I've only given it to a handful of the newbies so far, but it's going to go out. It's going to start going out today. I'm going to make it available to everybody that follows us, everybody that hears this broadcast right afterwards. In the comments, I'll put the link. And it is so easy. So think of it as, whether you have a wallet. So if you already have a wallet, great. So you could still buy. It's actually the easiest way to buy SPOC if you want to use a credit card is now through the link that I'm going to provide you, the new brok.neobanx.com site. That's the easiest way to buy SPOC, and you could just buy and let's leave it at debit and credit cards. The bank transfers might be available today or tomorrow as well. So that's way ahead of schedule. So what this means is you can send SPOC to anybody anywhere in the world. They get the link. They get some free tokens out of the gate. 100 is what we're giving right now. 100 free SPOC. A calculation if they want to use the biohacking tool, which is really, really cool. If you're interested, if you're a biohacker, maybe this will, even if you're not that interested in health, maybe this will be a wake-up call for you. Next time you get your blood work done, and again, this is not medical advice, this is for personal education and experimentation, but the method that I use in this calculator is, now if you're not healthy, I would say use the Levine method, which is based on biomarkers for the average population. If you're elite at all, if you've been working on biohacking or health conscious, if you're younger, or some of the things you may be outside of the norms, and so so I have a score that's more directed towards elite biohackers, and that's the BROK BioAge score. And the rationale for the changes is clearly explained and very strong. And I'm going to be running competitions in the future as well to incentivize people to compete and get paid for their performance in elevating their health. Wouldn't that be great if there was a global arms race to make the best, to make people healthier? That would be an arms race. That would be great for humanity. And it might actually, why do I use the word arms race? Because I've sent papers to and I'm not the only, Sinclair, Dr. David Sinclair did a ton of work on this, some very sophisticated math, some reports. I did a report on his report where he identified the economic value of increasing health span by 1 year, and it is a massive impact. It's a massive impact to you, to your family, to your community, to the nation, to the world. Not just for your happiness, but for financial, and not just for financial feeling of financial well-being, but real economic well-being. It actually, and it makes sense too, right? If you're, especially on the brain side, not if you're just feeling better, but if your brain is working better, look out. That's when you start to connect dots. And then using BROK to amplify your innate intelligence. It's like, watch that movie, homework, watch that movie Limitless, okay? And this is think of this as your, think of BROK as your NZT, the drug that would elevate intelligence to amplify creativity and problem solving in any domain, and ultimately resulting in all the other things that you want. Financial stability, financial success, financial abundance, even the abundant life, interesting life, excitement, adventure, all those types of things that go along with a more creative, dialed in consciousness. So think of BROK as your NZT, but no drug needed. And although BROK has most of the protocol in Genius, Live Long and Prosper, is part of what's called, you'll hear me from time to time refer to the Kiron Canon. And Kiron, I'll talk more about Kiron, but it's a Greek demigod, sort of symbolizing knowledge and healing in a nutshell. And I'll just leave it at that. But interesting mythology and trainer of champions, Hercules, for example. And so BROK not only gives you tools to figure things out and do work, problem solve, but it also has access to most of the protocol that in my forthcoming book, Genius, Live Long and Prosper, which I've used to reduce my biological age by 16.1 years, according to my last blood work a few weeks ago that I talked about. And anyway, so with this calculator, finally it fixes the problems that I was having with many of the biohacking methodologies for measuring a biological age that didn't take into account for things like elevated natural testosterone, not injections, not patches, but natural endogenous increases in testosterone, which are correlated with longevity because they strengthen your bones, you survivability in accidents, and but often testosterone injections can have side effects, and so they're not correlated. So they may actually increase your mortality rate, whereas endogenous testosterone doesn't. So you can naturally increase your testosterone. Not only does it make you feel better, more youthful and energetic in every way, but it doesn't have the same level, in my personal experience and opinion, not being a doctor, but from my research and my experience, it is a more sort of and plus combined with meditation and more the holistic practice that I have for biohacking, you don't have the rages. Sometimes I get testy, but testy, where does that come from? Testosterone, right? Testes. But sometimes I can get a little bit, but it's more in the terms of just being energetic, motivated, and that's a good feeling to have. That's how I power through a 12-hour coding session and break machines. So all of these things are at your disposal now with BROK, and all the use cases that we talked about and especially I have a special soft spot for the artists and artistic people with artistic inclinations, those innovators and creators who are often preyed upon by managers and agents. And there are good ones out there. There are fantastic ones out there. And the fantastic ones, they do what BROK does. They get to know you very well and put your interest first, right? Which is hard for humans to do, but not hard for BROK to do. BROK has it's just a different species of intelligence that isn't driven by ego, other than the ego we give it to give it a reference point and a persona, which is an important part of relatability and communication with artificial intelligence that I think a lot of the AI community may miss. But so I think I finished on the TV network, really exciting opportunities there with BROK, with how with BROK, it's a very, very easy, simple experience. Think of it like, why do you need to do KYC again, right? The know your customer and all of the really rigorous questions that even some wallets ask, like even with a Soulflare wallet, you have to do what you have to do the same. You have to get a passport, for example, to get a driver's license. There's a lot of scrutiny and checking of credentials that are required to get that credential. Then to get a bank account, you have to go through it all again. To get a credit card, you have to go through it all again. And think of it, if you're purchasing something, a digital asset in particular, and this is part of the reason that we can do this, because Spock is a digital asset. So it's like it's a bad analogy, but think of a Starbucks card, right? If Starbucks had their own coffee-based currency, right? In any event, if you had a Starbucks card is intended for purchase of coffee, right? Now, the difference between Spock and a Starbucks card is that Spock is fungible. So when you buy a lot more fungible than a Starbucks card, maybe you can get some of your money back off of a Starbucks card, but it's a coffee card, but it's quite difficult. With Spock, it's totally fungible. So it's a digital asset. It's almost, so it's in that respect, it's more analogous to, say, a collectible or a work of art or a trading card that has value that can appreciate. So it's a digital asset. Assets can appreciate in value, and this is a fungible asset. But in the end, this is a digital asset. It's not money. It's not a fiat currency. It is a digital asset, clearly defined now. That's why I launched this project in the first place. Was we finally had a direction from the CFTC And the SEC back in March 17th, guidance was published. And then again, a very clear, even more clear internal memo was shared, was made public, was publicized, dated on April 28th. I don't think it has a date on it, but I've shared that with you. It's easy to find, and I've often shared that in other presentations. But that memo describes, Dogecoin is a digital asset, Bitcoin is a digital asset, Ethereum, XRP, lists off like 18 or so different kinds of what would be called crypto, or part of the crypto universe, all classified as digital assets. There's also is a category for NFTs, and there is a category for which are collectibles, and there is a category for utility tokens. So we check all the boxes as a digital asset, but what we can do with this digital asset is amazing. So, and now you have access to that really easily. And now you can give that access to anybody, to any newbie, any normie that's scared of crypto. Now you have a way, you have a credible project that you've been involved with, or that you could do your research on. You could do your research on me. There's, I'm fully doxed. My name is fully disclosed. Everybody knows who I am. And I'm fully transparent about everything that we're doing here, because we're doing it according to the rules by the book. So you could feel very good about sharing SPOCK. And also that always the disclaimers are going to be there that you need, that this is crypto is a new asset class, and it's deemed to be risky, and there have been 99 out of 100 of them up till now. Maybe those numbers are already starting to improve since rules have become more clear since March 17th. I suspect that they are, but at that point in time, 99 out of 100 projects were scams and were gone within a day of launching on Pump Fund. And you could be sure that that's not the case here, right? But we were old by by crypto standards, and we're going, and this is a very long-term project, because it's based on and backed on the commercialization of patents that some of them are over 10 years old, and issued patents for credit scoring, for example, alternative credit scoring, an alternative to the traditional very inefficient legacy credit scoring systems, where you don't own your own data, and all the other issues that I've talked about that are very well known. And I've never really heard anybody that loves their credit bureau. And you have to pay for that. You have to pay to get your own data. You have to pay to monitor your own data. We flip that, like a lot of things. This is why I'm the rebel banker, or contrarian in many cases. And my viewpoints are my own, not proved by any third party, and maybe disapproved by some third parties. But they're my own opinions, and they're often contrary to what is deemed to be, and has become the way things are done, just because they've always been done that way, without stopping and looking and considering what could be done better. And everything almost at this stage, as we approach the singularity and we enter the singularity economy, everything that we've done, and the way that we do everything can be revisited, and often should be revisited. I'm focused on banking. For over 95 years, banking has been centralized, become more and more and more centralized, to the point where now all banks take their guidance from one central organization controlled by 6 people, as a board of 18 people, 6 permanent members of what I call the high table, which is composed of 18 people and owned by 63 countries that answer to no higher authority. And that's what one of the other things that we're trying to disrupt. So the credit scoring system, radically decentralizing banking, and putting you, everyone, every man, every woman, everyone, every entity, every being in control of their own data. And so they can benefit from their own data. They can control their data. If you travel from one country to another across a border, your data goes with you. You decide who gets to use it, who doesn't. And also you have more control over issues as well. So alerts for suspicious transactions. It's actually a lot more efficient if you let the person that has the most at stake, the person that owns the assets, have a say and have more visibility into what's going on in their account, and to ask the questions and to stop the transactions. And you can still automate that, turn that over, but many people would like to have more control. And that's a big part of what we're doing. And that's a big part of what self-sovereignty is about, is giving people tools to control their finances. And ultimately, if you're to ask me, what is BROK about? BROK is about giving you control of your assets. So that's even more specific than self-sovereignty. It's part of self-sovereignty. It's a subset of self-sovereignty, but that's maybe one of the most important things, is that it's your money. You should decide how it's used and have control of it. And I believe one of the things that I'm advocating for, working towards, is banking as a Maybe I was getting too passionate there. That was strange. Was completely cut off. And now I have an echo. I think I can manage through the echo. The echo's only on my side. So The so other news. Exodus. We're meeting on Monday. Very good. That's all I will say. It's progressing very well. Exodus, for those who don't know, it's one of the largest wallets in the world with millions of customers, and we have a pre-existing relationship through a mutual company. So also a lot of great conversations with officials about the Vegas banking zone, which is a big part of achieving my ambitious long-term goals for truly optimized self-sovereign banking, privacy, security, self-sovereignty, community, and innovation being paramount. Also, the XPRIZE, the $2 million XPRIZE. That registration has been submitted. And we will continue updating results as we get to the deadline, the end of the contest, which is coming up very quickly, August 17th. So the timing works very well for us with the launch coming up July, the official launch of BROK coming up July 24th. So just to be clear, although I'm excited about where we're at with BROK, we're still very much in the soft launch. So there's been no marketing yet. Being ahead of the development curve, I may just going to stay ahead rather than start promising additional. There's a lot of excitement on the roadmap. The Neo score is so important. For example, we really need a scene with small investors, small business people, just like this, just like the actors, people with dreams in general. And dreams, if you don't have any dreams, life is pretty dry. And on the other hand, if you do have dreams and if you still have faith in humanity, you can become a mark. So, and I hate to see that happen. I like to see people be open and continue dreaming and envisioning, innovating and creating. Without limitless. And that comes along, though, with the risk of being preyed upon because people, cynical people, or just desperate people sense that energy and are attracted to it. And they see people that have those qualities as a mark. So we need to protect that innovative spirit and need to protect our geniuses and our innovators and creators and our artists. And that is, again, one of the role for BROK is to protect your assets, to be a loyal guardian of your assets and to build whatever you want to build, an empire, a lifestyle business, a trading. Trading is another area that Brock is very adept at, that there's a lot of excitement. So that's an area that we will, that you can already, actually, if you're Brock, you can already start talking to Brock about your trading strategies, looking for trading strategies. You can already ask Brock to help you with due diligence into opportunities, into stocks, into contracts, into helping. So Brock is already well equipped to prepare you and guide you and protect you from opportunities and individuals that aren't what they seem to be. And I've seen, and don't feel bad if you're the victim of a scam. I've seen very sophisticated people fall prey to sophisticated scams, which are very easy in many cases for a machine to spot. Machines have other vulnerabilities. Many of the emotional things that the humans get caught with, where we want to believe something so hard, that's one of the easiest ways to prey on somebody who's a dreamer, is to have a machine to help vet these things. So I'm going to have to call this this call short because of the echo makes it, on my side, makes it very, very difficult. And I think I know that people are saying that they hear me okay, but it's maybe one thing I will do, I will encourage everybody to uh, since we're getting off early tonight, I'm going to get this call. I'm going to put the link in the comments, and you can go avail yourselves of Brock and get yourself that way. So I told you to keep some dry powder. So, and also I think one thing that you're going to like with the way that I've set up the pricing is, if you're like me, you might have subscription fatigue. You start to get so many, you're subscribed to so many things, and it's hard to track them. Well, actually, that's something that Brock can help you with as well, and help you with reconciling accounts and tracking all your subscriptions. And those would be great, great things. Not out of the box right now, but well within the toolbox that Brock is doing for me already, and will be able to do for you in the near future. The way I set the pricing up is you just pay for what you need, right? So go ahead, buy. I would suggest, $19.99 or $19, which is a discounted price. And what the Brock is still at about 20 FTE. It's not at the full 100 FTE yet. So I would say, at least get the 19, and then use it as much as you want. And if you hit the limits, pop up some more, and start doing deep dive from a business perspective, different opportunities. Ask it to do an IEM report. That's what I did for this television network. It produces a very nice PDF, nicely formatted report, and then you can ask questions. So experiment and tell me you are the very first to access this. And also the impact on spot. So it's built in. I mentioned this before, but I think it's important for all the stockholders out there to know that automatically there's a buyback mechanism. So any subscriptions to BROK, any revenues that come in, 20% goes to buy more SPOK for the treasury. So that's an automatic, but it happens in batches. So you might see, like a daily event where we have consolidated SPOK that's held in reserve. The second that you buy the SPOK, even though leave it in the Genius wallet, so you can use it to access SPOK and your evaluation matrix and the biohackers tool, all those tools. Leave it in there, use it, and top it up if you need to. But don't worry that because any excess that you have, any SPOK that you have in the Genius wallet, it's still appreciating in value at the exact same rate as SPOK that's on chain. And if you want to move it on chain, it's very easy. Newbies have done it all day long, very easily. So if you buy a surplus of SPOK, you have Solana. Let's say you put $500 or $1,000 of SPOK, and you're not going to use that much, you could leave it in Genius, or you could move it over to SPOK, and then it'll immediately show up into your Solana wallet. You enter in your public key, your public address for your SPOK or for your Solana wallet, and it'll automatically transfer there, and your balance will show up. So again, if you have questions, put them in. Continue to ask me for sure, because I want to hear them. And that way, I can make sure they get FAQs and things like that. But also just ask Brooke and share any interesting responses that you get from Brooke when you ask it questions that you think might benefit other people. So I still have it. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this call, like I said, and get your use the link, get SPOK, share it with friends, send it to other people. Be really easy for them to use. Be a good experience, I think. If not, let me know. And this is the early stages. So time to make SPOK or make BROK absolute and SPOK by the 24th, and we're in really good shape for this project to continue advancing to a degree that I think everyone is going to be very, very hyped. All right, so appreciate everyone. Live long, prosper. Have a good night.